WATE 6 News, Tennessee This Week with Gene Patterson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tennessee This Week. Earlier this month, Jefferson County Commission approving funding to move forward with creation of a large industrial and business park. They're hoping for Megasite certification, which would then open the door for a major automotive manufacturer and its associated parts suppliers to locate there. And, of course, that would also mean hundreds, if not thousands, of new jobs. And joining us today to talk about all of this is Garrett Wagley, Director of Economic Development for the Jefferson County Chamber of Commerce. And Garrett, good to see you.
Good to see you, Gene.
Let's talk about this has not been universally sort of, their arms have not been wrapped around it. You've got an 1,800 acre plot of land, about 100 property owners. How many are actually willing to sell at this point?
Well, that's really the phase we're in right now. You know, we kind of did this backwards from a lot of other industrial developments. We announced our intent to pursue certification before we assembled the property. So we wanted to have sort of a democratic process and have the conversation about what this could mean for the property owners and what it could mean for the greater community and jobs and that kind of impact. So we announced it, and now we're going through the process of talking to property owners about optioning their property.
Now, when you talk about 100 people, I mean, you could say the sky's blue and you get 100 people together and somebody's going to argue that you're wrong. I don't know how you possibly get 100 people to agree to put up their land or sell their land for this project.
Well, you know, it takes some time. And it takes individual conversations about their individual piece and how it falls in the concepts, the site plan concept, and what it could mean for them. You know, no one's going to sell their property unless they can improve their station in life, and so you got to figure out what that means to them, and then with that information, we'll determine whether it's economically feasible to pursue the project.
We've done a number of stories already on this, as you know, and we've talked to a number of property owners who are adamantly opposed to selling their land. Is that a posturing position? Is that sort of like whenever you get into a negotiation about selling, you're not going to say, sure, why not? You're going to say, no, not exactly, and waiting maybe for the best price. I mean, what kind of price work can this thing sort of gen up?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to what their motivations are, but I would just say to you that we're really early in this process. You know, we announced it in early January, so, you know, it needs some time for people to wrap their heads around it, to what it means to them and what benefit they might get out of it, how they would improve, what that improvement in their station of life means, what kind of is their hot button. Is that, you know, going to get another farm if you're a farmer, a bigger farm if you can make some money on your property, or, you know, if you're a homeowner, does that mean a better home? Or maybe, you know, in Jefferson County, maybe you move to the lake, or, you know, closer to your kids, whatever it means to you to improve your station of life. That's kind of the place where we are now, is trying to figure that out.
Now, I mentioned the funding by the county commission. How much did they allocate, and where will those dollars go specifically?
Yeah, they appropriated $442,000 to the Industrial Development Board, which will oversee this process. Eventually, if the property is purchased, that's who will hold title as the Industrial Development Board. Again, but we're going through a really conservative process. So we're pursuing certification, and that means we're trying to acquire the property and put it together in one parcel that we could then offer to an industrial client. But we're also going through the certification process through that, which you say, you know, you do the engineering studies and environmental studies and make sure there are no kind of hiccups or big problems that would slow an auto manufacturer down, so that their time from making a decision to come to a place to building the factory is shortened.
And let me just get back to the property owners, because we have heard from several people who say, you know, these properties have been in our family for generations. We're an older couple. We don't plan to move anywhere. We don't want to move anywhere. We don't have any desire to make a lot of money. We like this piece of land. What can you possibly say that would appeal to that person in terms of selling their land?
Yeah, you know, I understand that. I understand that there are some emotional attachments to the property, and you know, there's some farmers out there that are farming, and that's certainly an important part of the Jefferson County economy. But, you know, people in Jefferson County really want jobs. The vast majority of folks that work and live in Jefferson County commute out. And so they want jobs for themselves that are closer to home, and then they see their kids going to school and getting a good education in the Jefferson County school system, and then having to move away to find a good job. They'd like their kids and their grandkids closer to them.
Of course, everybody points to Chattanooga, Hamilton County, and the Volkswagen project there, because that was a big piece of land that obviously hit pay dirt. Now they've got thousands of jobs, and it's a great developed piece of property. I did a quick Google search before we came on today and looked at megasites in the South. There are now 10 just in the area. There are 3 in Kentucky, several in South Carolina, 1 in North Carolina, Virginia, around us that are assembled and ready to go with no tenant. Are you confident that even if we got this thing certified, got it assembled, got it certified, put our hat out there and said, hey, we're ready for business, that we're even going to get anybody?
Well, I can tell you that if we don't do those things, we're not in the game. We won't get anybody. But I think this site is very attractive because of its location at the intersection of I-81 and I-40. It's also close to a gap in the Appalachian Mountains, so you could serve an international clientele because you can get to ports on the East Coast and serve a domestic base too. So it's well positioned in that. And then, the state of Tennessee's had success with auto manufacturers, and so we're a known entity for auto manufacturers in the state.
Speaking of the state, how much are they involved, if at all, at this point with your success in terms of bringing a megasite there?
Yeah, it's really early. So their involvement is encouragement. They know that megasites are successful, and they've certainly given us some advice over the past several months. But their financial involvement is non-existent yet.
We talk about the 100 people. At some point, people are going to start lining up, I guess. Most have lined up so far against. Can you give us a couple of examples where people are actually willing to sell their lands?
Yeah, there are. We have had conversations that have bear fruit. There are about 400 acres either under contract or folks who have committed. So, it's a process, and we're going through it.
And as we've all talked about, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. This is maybe 10, 20, 30 years down the road.
Yeah, it's really not that long. There are 9 auto manufacturers that said that they need additional capacity in North America by 2015. So that's really the window we're going after, and the faster we can get the site certified, the better.
Now, if you say we're to get a majority or 2/3 of the property owners in there, and you still got sort of a pesky group that you need to assemble within this project, would eminent domain be a possibility? I know they've said no already, but when you're that close, would that not be a temptation?
I really don't think so. We've said all along that we have no plans to use eminent domain. To be certified as a megasite, you have to have 1,000 acres. We've identified 1,860, and so there's a possibility that we make some adjustments on the site concept plan.
Okay, so that makes sense. And if you don't get all the 100, maybe you get enough to get the 1,000 together.
Right.
All right. So so what's the next step for you guys?
We continue to have conversations with property owners trying to option that land, and then when we assemble enough, we'll start doing the environmental assessments.
All right. Garrett Wagley with the Jefferson County Chamber. Thank you very much, and good luck to you on your